Hello, I'm Kyle Adams with the Flat Earth Institute of Science.
And I'm his wife, Karina Adams. Today we have a special guest, Cami Knodel, also known as Aisling 717. Recently we did a video talking about our demographics. In that video we pointed out how we have a very small female audience, and that really inspired us to do what we can to help promote the female Flat Earth channels that are out there. So thank you so much for joining us, Cami.
So, tell us about your channel.
Okay, that's interesting on here. The demographics, I've come across the same thing, of course, on Globebusters. For those who don't know me, I am Cami. I'm Bob Knodel's wife from Globebusters. I also have my own channel, Aisling 717 or Ashling 717. That was kind of an accident. It was my YouTube user, and then I just started, showing up on Globebusters and doing work in the background. Why Bob is a very on-screen presence personality. I'm a very in the background, curious, asking questions and doing things. And so he's brought me up on to the show. And then when we get together in conferences, I've met with a lot of the other channels and, of course, getting together and spending time with them. And I love presenting my ideas to them. And they're like, you really, really need to share some of these. So I do have a little channel that I share things. When you talk about it, works into the demographics of YouTube. And the reason I love doing the seller return in different markets, not showing in person, is we don't on YouTube. I think you're going to get viewers. We have a bigger audience than you think. I think a lot of wives are watching in the background, and I have quite, a lot of people that come and, say hi in person and say, we watch quietly. They do it incognito, so they're not going to show up on your results, because a lot of the women they don't want to take up the confrontation yet. They don't want to take up the personal, what happens on Facebook if you were to announce it, or even search histories with kids in the house and things like that. But they're there. They're there at the supermarkets. They're there at the workshops. They're there at the conferences. You'll notice that when you go to the conferences, it's not so male-dominated as you would think it would be by the YouTube. That when you actually get the people there, the women are there. The women and this is why I love you bringing your wife Karina on. A lot of the women, I can't speak for all of them, but a lot of the women are uncomfortable in such, I would have to say, vulgar, confrontational, hostile environments.
Definitely.
And the chat rooms can be that. To be a woman in Flat Earth, you have to know that, and they will make videos on you saying how you are transgender. I have multiple videos saying that I'm a man. You have, for some reason...
You're really rude out there. There's a lot of weight that comes with this.
People, again, they like to amuse themselves being mean. So you have to kind of develop a hard ridge around yourself and realize that, what keyboard warriors are, that these people don't show up in the conferences and they don't show up in their real events. And so I really like doing their real events. And you'll notice for people that are Facebook friends or that, I have a lot of people over at the house. We have a lot of meetups. I do the more in person I do the real social as opposed to the media social always. But it's important, again, to get it out there and share. And this is where people like Karina, to me, this one speak like our future and what's coming is that women that can present out there, that you have a beautiful presence on camera. You have the curiosity. Everything shines through everything. I'm an older generation looking through, but you're the women that we want on Flat Earth. I often told Patricia Steer, who I was friends with, that no, you're not crazy. No, you're not. You're just you're ahead of your time. These people are out there, but the audience isn't big enough because, again, the YouTube audience.
Karina's a rock star.
Karina's a rock star. My husband, this is Bob in the background doing it. So people like Karina are my rock stars. I don't know if I'll ever my comfort zone is not in front of the camera and is not in front of people. You do it so well, Karina. You do it.
Oh no.
You have that spark, that charisma.
No,
He's always encouraging me to put my face on the camera. It's like,
Yeah.
okay.
you can be famous.
He does it. He does it really well. The same with Bob. Bob articulates so well, and he can put the ideas out there and do such a great presentation. It's everybody's got a skill set. I take my skill set a lot away. Part of my problem with being on air is I take, that was Zach walking by the way. Hi, Zach. I take my skill set intentionally out of a digital world into an analog world. And so that makes some conflicts with, spending a lot of time in the chat rooms or a lot of the time watching other people's videos, because I make what my channel and what I'm about is actually observing how things work in reality. And in reality, and in the digital world, I've noticed a lot of conflicts. Easy things would be like polarity, something known as the Faraday effect. Because I'm like, I play, I touch, I do. I think I need one more filter. I might have to go upstairs lately. But just even things that people don't understand about that happen in reality, things that we should be looking
The
at.
atmosphere, yeah.
The atmosphere polarizes, any electric field polarizes light. Any light that's polarized is directionalized. Polarized filters crossing, have different effects. And it happens in reality. So I look for things in reality that when you happen to play with Polaroid filters in digital, if I add a third filter to it, for instance, if I add a third filter to this, something magic happens. It doesn't work digitally anymore. You can't program it on a computer, Kyle. This is called like a Bell's theorem, a paradox, that you're filtering out light. You run it through a filter. If I add the third filter to this, light is going to start coming through again.
That's bizarre.
I'm going to go get a third filter just to play this on here and show you.
Here's a video clip describing what she's talking about.
Here's where things get quantumly bizarre. All these filters do is remove light. They filter it out. But if you take a third filter and orient it 45 degrees off from that first one, and then you put it in between the two, the lamp actually looks brighter. This is not the middle filter generating more light. Somehow, introducing another filter actually lets more light through. With perfect filters, if you keep adding more and more in between at in-between angles, this trend actually continues. More light.
This feels super weird, but it's not just weird that more light comes through. When you dig in quantitatively to exactly how much more light comes through, the numbers don't just seem too high, they seem impossibly high. And
this is why he's doing this. This is just a piece of glass from a picture frame. And this is from the last Oktoberfest. The kids were doing it. They were taking pieces of tape, packing tape, and putting it on the glass for me. So it's really, really messy. See that? Fingerprints and everything, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know if you know, cellophane is quarter polarized. So if you do cellophane tape, like just packing tape.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Let's see if I can get this for the camera, because I've got it for my eyes. I don't know if I'm introducing color to this, where the tape is.
I can see myself.
I think it's the glare going on the light. I might have to do something. I'm just waiting for, I have it perfectly from behind. I mean, I have it perfectly from my view.
Yeah.
Oh, and this is really
you can see through it.
Yeah, but I'm going to change the color of the lights. You see it go yellow, blue.
Here's a quick video that explains what she's describing.
One more thing that I want to show you. First, I'm going to put the circular polarizer back onto the camera, but it's just going to act as a polarizer. Okay, one polarizer is on the camera. Now I'm going to take this linear polarizer and add it to the camera. This way it doesn't do anything. This way it gets a lot darker. It also gets very blue, depending on how I orient it. So I'm going to orient it just so that we lose some of the blueness, and it just looks kind of foggy. Now I'm going to hold up another linear polarizer, and it will look dark blue. If I turn it this way, it turns purple. If I turn it this way, it turns green. And even more, it turns yellow, kind of orange, kind of red, pretty clear. and then it goes back to purple again. I've got a whole rainbow of color just by orienting this linear polarizer differently. And I got more. I have lots of them. I get different colors. So what's going on here? You tell me.
And the interesting thing about this is if you look at it and would pull up like a video called Bell's Theorem, this just does not work mathematically. This is impossible to do digitally. You don't filter out 100% of something and add another filter and it adds back in.
That's so cool.
It works. It's impossible. It's impossible. So you don't. So again, I'm finding out that doing things digitally and trying to replicate things digitally in a digital world doesn't replicate reality very well. The same with, I played with, like on the premise of the, you guys are Bible readers, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the firmament is described. Can you describe the firmament for me biblically?
Well, they've described it as a dense mirror, like something. It looks like a molten looking glass is what they called it.
They called it a vault of looking glass, right? A vault of molten looking glass is the way it's always described. Do you know what happens when you take a vault of looking glass?
I don't know.
You get a natural hologram emitter.
Oh yeah.
You actually get, if you do this, if you like take a vault of looking glass and put it together, you get holograms.
Here's another video explaining what she's talking about here.
So we have two pieces with a parabolic mirror, and this is gonna be the base and the object. You need to place it, I guess, somewhere here. What? That's awesomely cool. Maybe this camera can catch that. Can't see that. 1 second. It's sitting on top here. It's really real. But it's just light. It's really nothing. Okay, with this camera, that's really stupid. I'm touching the hole. But it's really there. Let's try and take this camera off and check it out. It's not there. It's really nice. Okay, here it goes over the edge.
But the thing about a natural hologram emitter is when you think of a hologram emitter, you think of only visual, that it's creating this, you're using cameras from all over, and it's bringing in and creating this visible optical illusion, right?
Uh-huh.
But if you create a natural hologram emitter that's just like a vault of looking glass, it carries all of the waves. So if you put a piece of ice cube in the hologram emitter, the hologram is cold.
Mm-hmm.
That I have up on my channel. That's on Good Times for All, so we'll do it. If you put something that's fluorescent in the hologram emitter, and you fluoresce it first, the hologram fluoresces. If you put something in the hologram emitter that fluoresces and it's not lit up, you can light it up by simply, and I have it perfectly for my view, you don't see it, by simply hitting the hologram with UV light, you can actually affect the hologram. Works a lot differently than, the hologram is very interactive when created simply and naturally. You sit there and think of all the wires and things you put into a machine. But a natural hologram, if the firmament really is as described, a vault of looking glass, and these are in the firmament, they could very easily be holographing down because that's what a natural hologram emitter would do. So I'm in the background doing like little what ifs.
Yeah,
what ifs, looking at things and how it might work. And these are not that's not. I don't know if the firmament is a hologram emitter, but I do know that it sure could be if it was as described.
It fits these different description qualities. Yeah.
Right. And so
we gotta wonder about like, where did you learn all this stuff? This is like amazing. So,
It's really
yeah.
my background is I'm a gemologist.
Uh-huh.
And so what that means is it means that if you go to a jewelry store and you bring your stuff in and you got this ring from grandma, what's in the ring? Somebody needs to know, hey, what is this? Is this real? Is this synthetic? What's this red stone? What's it worth? How rare is it? And that. So that was basically a mainstay of my day, along with buying and other things, is a little detective work. And so I had a head start on what they're doing in the flat earth world, because I sit there and on my desk and in my laboratory, I had something called a refractometer, where I tested the refractive indexes of things I saw. Are they single refractive, double refractive, which you'll get into, that a lot of the things will actually have bend into two lights, into an ordinary and extraordinary beam. And you can move the images, which I can show you too, just again with double refractive materials and polarity. Just again, you can shift where you see something, just like you've seen an arrow shift. You can do a light shift and shift out by which axis you see it. So
so you kind of learned about this stuff in gemology, is what you're talking about?
I've learned a lot of the different pieces and parts here, and they put it together. Gemology is a fun one because they separate it from, this is what I've noticed about a lot of the sciences. Gemology is even a whole different ball game. They don't in the university have its own little thing on it. They put us in a different school entirely. It's a trade school.
Oh, okay.
You go there, you spend your day, all day in school learning about gemology. You go home, you don't learn English, you don't learn anything else. You learn straight gemology, and they test you on your skills on it. And before, I'm old, so when I did it, it was in an analog world. So things that I got out of this that again, different people might not, is refractive index, double refractive. I had analog equipment that you actually watch the image jump or the line jump on it, and you got to watch it move. Now what you do is you put it on a piece of equipment, and it gives you your high readout and your low readout, and you don't watch anything. You just get everything in a printout. So in the old days, we actually got to see what was doing. You had to see how crystals grew, because you had to say, how do I separate what grew in the ground from what grew, in nature and that. But in that little thing, you also learn how crystals grow, and you see that things, if you open your eyes, you see crystals, wait a minute, geography and all of this is all wrong. They're growing all of the time around us. They don't take hundreds of years to grow. I grew some bismuth crystals in my house last Sunday, and they took under a minute to do it. In other words, it's like snow. When the conditions are right, things change into crystalline straight, and they do it beautifully. They do it like snowflakes. They do it in perfect geometry and platonic solids.
Yeah. That's one of the things that we really like with the whole Flat Earth Institute of Science. It's all about building on a foundation of observation and experimentation. And that's, what you're all about here, is you're going out and doing that for yourself.
So why I looked at your channel and said, I love these people. I love these people. They're kind of doing what I'm doing, but they're brave enough to be, on screen in front of people. And I kind of am too. I don't think of putting the camera on myself. I'm just not.
Yeah, we rarely put the camera on ourselves as well. This is an unusual experience. So with you and Bob there,
did he introduce the flat Earth to you? What's your story?
He introduced the possibility of the flat Earth to me because he was definitely a YouTube video conspiracy person watcher, and and I wasn't. I felt like a lot of time and things was being lost, or so he threw that theory out, and that was like at wit's end with me. And not really at wit's end, because I'd gone on my own tangents. I just, instead of YouTube videos, I just went into medical research and that. So, I did heavy research on vaccines and different parts of it, but I didn't attempt it. I didn't do it through the route he did. So when he threw this one at me, it was like, okay, this, we're going to knock out of the park right now, right here, right now. This isn't going to be something that's going to last days and weeks, months. And it's like packages travel with really good laden. I know because I worked in the jewelry industry and we could know where our packages were all of the time traveling, how many miles. And so if you have expensive packages and things like that, so I pulled on the experience and that said, planes travel on that, but packages even travel with more detail in a way. I mean, you can.
So we were kind of wondering, like, your reaction when he first discovered the Earth was flat, and kind of what your reaction was to that, and kind of that story there.
Yeah, that's what it was. Is he said, "Well, what do you think about this? Do you think that this could even be possible?" And I was like, "No way." And so I spent my evening looking at package tracking and with a ball of yarn and a globe, measuring up distances, and then I kept going and going. and it's like, this doesn't make sense, and why did this take so? It put me down a rabbit hole that I started for the first time. I went down to it a little bit with the Find the Plane on 9/11 and that, but again, it was like these people are still playing Find the Plane 5 years later. I'm frustrated. I want to move on, but this, that was a lie, and it changed your world, but this really changed the world and said,
just opens your eyes to so many things, and then you find out, whoa, the Earth is flat. Well, what does that mean about this? And what does that mean about that? And
but this,
a lot more than just the flat Earth.
Exactly, and everything starts tying together, and things that I don't know if you like, Karina, if you like ever experienced this, or Kyle I sat there. And I'm persistent. I sat there and for space weather, spent 15, 20 years trying to make sense out of it and where the magnetics changed over and the different things like that and putting it together. And I just assumed I was too stupid to figure it out. And then,
that's what they want you to think. Don't do the thinking. Allow us to do the thinking for you.
But I'm a puzzle doer, and so I'm always. It's like, even if I don't get all of the pieces, it's like I'm always trying to put them in together differently. And all of a sudden, with flat Earth, like different things that I was working for in the background, for instance, space weather, these pieces started popping in. Crystal pieces started with flat Earth. Bob was working on it and saying every reason why the globe doesn't work, and he's a globe buster, and everybody needs to know that. And in the background, while he's doing that, I'm looking at every reason why the flat Earth is not only works, but it's real, it's tangible, it's amazing, and it freaks out how it fits with everything. With everything, and so all the pieces. So we were having different experiences, and it's interesting too, just being in it. You would think both thinking on the flat Earth and the things, but he's, on the videos, everybody is saying how the moon's probably not even round and it's flat and and I'm working on things to say, wow, if you add altitude to the lunar nodes, the phases create themselves in perfect time, but it requires so I'm doing this way. Everybody is saying the moon is not round, and it's like, but if you take round out of the equation, the phases don't create themselves perfectly. And I have a model where if you take the lunar nodes and the scientific, if you just change, in science, where they say this is where the sun appears lower than the moon. If you graph that lower than the moon and take the lunar nodes and say the way it appears to be is in reality, it's right there, and it fits in with the astrolabe, and it fits in with everything. So if you add layers and then, for instance, give the sun qualities that it has, like UV rays, you can create a fluorescing moon or a natural, and then you think, what rocks grow round? You start putting it all together and saying, all of these pieces come in. So I'm working with all of these pieces coming in. And the entire YouTube community is working how no piece can be right. So no, the moon can't be round. All science is wrong. All science is crazy. And so it's a whole, everything is combative coming in from the globe side, but building it up, it's really working, but the community can't help it be skeptical about everything because again they're hostile because they've been lied to their entire life. So
they keep building these false foundations. I'm calling them tiger traps now.
Right.
Every time they used them in Vietnam, where they dig a pit and then cover it with a false ground, and so when people walk on top of it, all of a sudden they fall into it and then they get trapped. And that's essentially what they're doing, is they're going out there and pretending like they've got a good foundation of observation and experimentation when
it's
they
not
don't.
there. They don't.
It's not
They
there.
don't. And so
Yeah.
again, that all has to be taken down. But there are pieces of reality that we know do exist and do happen. And there are things that, again, when you look at, even in the scientists, one of my favorites, I wish I had a piece of celestite in there. I was looking at different stones and that, like playing Jim ID with the sky in a way, saying I was using the lunar wave even for birefringence, not just again in fun, curious. You can't help but play, but I noticed that celestite, it pits one of the things you're looking for. If you go out, if you want to find celestite in that in nature, one of the things you're going to look at is look at for cratering, things that look like little craters on the moon, because if it's exposed to in nature, they know, or we know in gemology, that if you expose these chemicals to a saline solution or a briny solution, salt water, they dissolve in circular patterns that look just like craters.
Oh, wow.
So, and we can reproduce that in laboratory. And so there's like the pitting that looks like cratering is also, we hear about the firmament and it being fluid and liquid.
Yeah.
But again, we know that briny solution causes a circular pitting or cratering in rocks. If you go into archaeology and you look at those same cratered pits on celestite, they're going to tell you that these were dug out burrows of ancient animals and that they cut out little round burrows. And it's like, oh my gosh, the sciences are all so disconnected on like what the little holes are.
But when you've got the observations to back them up, it's just like, yeah, this is what makes sense, and that doesn't make sense.
Right.
It's pretty plain as day.
So so what they do is, they disconnect the scientists one unto the other and keep the branches separate. And then things like where you're actually watching things grow in that gemology, they throw it out of the university entirely. That's just a trade school to be able to tell the difference, because it doesn't work with the rocks growing over. It doesn't. Gemology does not work with geology.
I have a question. Just how supportive has your family been to this whole idea?
Not at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bob's very supportive, though. Right?
Bob is very supportive. His sisters are very nice and sweet. Actually, his sisters are nice. My family is to the point where they're not overall hostile. But like they say, we have a strange and wonderful family. They're wonderful. I'm strange. It's a little bit different and embarrassing for them sometimes. I get, I had my sister chew me out about somebody, I wish her happy birthday, people follow, and is she a flat earther or not? And it's like, my family is the world to me, regardless of what they believe. But they're right. Yeah. It's hard on my family because they're very, very, very traditional.
Yes.
Very, very.
We get that.
My brother is a minister on a military base. And I mean, like different, very. So you'll have that too in Utah. So you have this, and just by the nature of social media and people crossing over, it gets uncomfortable for them sometimes. And I try to respect that too. And we go back and forth, but.
Yeah, and that's where it's like really important to have these non-hostile relationships, to be able to talk about things in a non-hostile manner. I've been talking a lot with some anti-flat earthers. I get the chance to talk to them every once in a while, and I can really say I've been talking a bunch to Mr. Sensible, and he started off like in a, oh well, this is Professor Dunning-Kruger and everything, and then I've been able to develop a little bit more of a non-hostile relationship with them, and so we can kind of settle that down. And I feel like as we try to settle the waters down a little bit more, then we're going to be able to probably have a stronger female presence in the room, hopefully.
Yes. And that does make it a lot. I mean, let's call it what it is bullying going on YouTube.
Yeah.
And it's not fun to be there. It's not that we feel like you're going to beat us or that we're not going to win. We don't care. We want to think through the problems and go through it logically and give information that we can filter. We don't want to be told what to think. We don't want to be told how to think. We want valid data points and different thought processes. Like maybe I think this because of it, but not you're a total nut if you.
Right.
And how could you be so stupid to not have this thought? Everybody's minds work, differently, and will filter the pieces of information. But
it's crazy how sensitive of a topic just the shape of the world is. You know what I mean? People
is
get so emotionally attached to that, and I don't know. I just think about going to school. Oh, you're telling me my teacher was wrong? And people, because they have a strong connection to like their traditional school teachers, they don't like the idea of us challenging those people that they love. And so it kind of gets involved with that. And so I guess you could say like your brother's a minister. And so you don't want to go about saying, oh, well, my brother's wrong or anything like that. You know what I mean? So it can be kind of a sensitive topic there.
It does get sensitive, and my brother is actually like fairly cool as far as saying we're not going to agree on this topic,
and that's okay.
And I don't want to discuss it with you. He's like, we can't agree, and it's like, but I don't want to lose you as a sister in that. And so what I have found too is like all communities and things like that, there are really, really, really good people that believe the earth is round, and they're decent people, and they're people I want in my life. And there are really, really volatile, vulgar flat earthers that I want nothing to do with. And so to draw the line and say that, again, it's always, a cut and divide, but they try to cut and divide and say, hey, if you don't believe this, you can't be friends with, or how could you be friends with somebody that believes that? And it's like, get over yourself. This is a journey we're on, and we're at different places on it. And you're at a different place 10 years ago and had different beliefs too. And people forget that. People think that where they're at the journey is where everybody has to be. And if they're not, they can argue it down and smack them down and prove why you're wrong because you're not at this exact junction. It's like,
Yeah.
My family, it's kind of like a taboo topic when it comes to my side of the family. But her side of the family, it's not so much of a taboo topic, but it's a very quiet topic.
Yeah.
Is that how you describe it?
Yeah. My dad has asked a few questions. But yeah, it's kind of like when Kyle comes over and when he was new at learning all this stuff, he'd be like, watch this, I want to show you this. And it would be, they'd display it on their TV and we would watch it from YouTube or whatever. And my mom would just be like playing with the kids and trying to ignore it a little bit. And like, I don't know, they were polite enough not to be like, you're so crazy, don't don't watch this. But I don't think they don't believe it, but they're kind enough not to be like insulting.
Yeah. But how do you feel about kind of their reaction to all that?
I don't know.
You don't know?
What do you mean?
I don't know, does that sadden you that they're so
I haven't really
kind of standoffish about that?
I don't like pushing things, I don't mind talking to people about it if they're interested.
Exactly.
But if they're, if they have no interest, I'm going to avoid that. I'm not going to be.
We don't want to push it in their faces or anything like that.
Yeah.
That's you're exactly what I find in like the women I meet out there. The exact thing is if you're ready for this part in your journey, let me share it. And it's beautiful. but it's not up for me to take a stick, knock you down, and say, "Hey, I have it all figured out."
No.
You are going to believe this.
You are going to believe this, and I can prove it.
Yeah,
So it takes like the curiosity and the fun. Now my mother, bless her, and this is like the good spot on it. It's not. I can get her to watch Flat Earth if she thinks it's the coolest thing ever. This is, I mean, of the generation, she thinks it's the coolest thing ever that I can bring me up on the TV screen, and I'm big on the TV, and so she likes watching me. She doesn't, she's like, "Oh, you look so good," and she's like, "I just love," and so it's like almost the reverse of the other things. But she doesn't really care about the topic at all. But she really likes, that especially now that I'm out of state, that she can hit a button and see me and thinks that's the coolest, and so I love that.
That's sweet.
And it's again, she's like just the sweetest thing in the world, and it's a lot to have her like change her. I mean, she's open to things like that, but to take out an all-out debate in that, it's like I love her no matter what. It doesn't need to be on the journey.
You don't have to.
She's a good person, and she's going to do okay. I don't think your judgment comes on having everything figured out as the best puzzle solver. I think it has to do with what kind of person you are in life. And it's fun to be a puzzle solver, and it's fun to figure things out, but it doesn't, if you're not a good person,
right,
at the end of the day, you're not happy, you're missing your journey.
Yeah. I think one of the hard things for me is I get so passionate about it. And it's just like, I just want everyone else to have the same passion that I have.
I have to calm them down a little bit.
I understand that.
It's so fascinating to me. And, and so when I go and share, my treasures with other people, I want to share it with my loved ones. I want to share it and say, guys, you guys are important to me. I want to share this amazing discovery with you. And when they are really standoffish about it and they don't really know what to say, they don't want to talk about it, that can be hard. That's something that's really important to me. And they're saying, I'm not interested. I don't care about that.
Right.
And that's really tough.
Yeah. They're really blunt with you.
Yeah. But we still love them anyway, but it's still just, that's an important part of you that,
they will wear NASA shirts just in front of you just because.
Just to do that,
my family. There's a little bit of a friendly rivalry there that we do that, and so my brother he got and his wife they'll wear their NASA shirts. And I wear my NASA Lies T-shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah. But again, you work through it, and in time is more evidence, and that comes through. I think a lot of it is again, as more evidence. They've had their whole lives and things that are important and the things like this, and you're throwing out something that goes not only against everything that they hold dear, but in the process, the hardest part is it makes people that you trust, that you trusted, into liars, and you feel betrayed. And so again, you're asking them to openly take on a feeling of betrayal and everything like that to make you feel ego and smart. So just playing the other devil's advocate on this, and Bob is also exactly the same way, and he wants everyone, and he needs to share it. It does it. People need to be able to have the option of hearing it. That's what I say is just like, we really do. We have to have it out there, and people have to have the option of hearing it, and they have to have the option of hearing it in every different way, from the artistic, from the scientific, from the spiritual, from the, again, it crosses over everything. They need to be able to get it, but they don't need any one area, because it's your passion.
Yeah. Yeah, everyone's different. Everyone has different passions, and some people are very passionate about everything that comes out of NASA's mouth, and so I guess I can see how they would be disappointed when we are saying that we don't trust what NASA says. Yeah,
right.
I think about when we first started, being introduced to Flat Earth. I didn't want to hear anything from your mouth about it.
At all, right? It's a natural. I did mine with Bob. I want to shut this. It's like not only do this one I'm going to take on because not only do I not want to hear anything about it, but I want to shut it down here and now. There was something offensive about it. It really
Yeah.
Well, when I got started, I just thought it was so crazy that anyone could believe that the Earth was flat, and then I started looking into it, and it's like, wow, that's not so crazy. That actually makes sense. So I don't know how to explain that otherwise. And yeah, there's a lot of those questions. And oh, wait a second, that makes a lot more sense than what NASA's telling me. And yeah, but it was that gentle ride, and it was a lot easier when I had other people to help me along the way that aren't just mocking and ridiculing and being really angry and hostile. Yeah,
I was just gonna say, but some of your friends that you've discussed with has really helped bring up questions that help you study into it more, and that's really helped him just really dive into it and learn all that he knows now because of all those questions and all that.
There's contrast
and all that.
Yeah, if there's no contrast, it kind of
dies.
Dies. Yeah.
It washes out. It washes out without the contrast. It washes out. Yeah. Bob and I, we are very lucky because we have each other in the same house and always have to play it. And again, Kyle and Karina, you're in the same way. I think that zooms you forward as far as it can't help but take you forward in time and forward in your journey because of the fact that if not, you're having to pick and choose when you can throw a thought that's going through your head. Anytime I have a weird thought or I have somebody instantaneously I can share it with. And now I have Zach, I have Bob, I have people, a network that I can run it by. So my mind can wander, and it does on it 24/7. And having a household like that, you can't help but go faster than somebody that anytime you even mention it, people look at you, shut you down, and want to, you feel that you're repelling them. I mean, I think that's probably the word is you feel like you're repelling these people by talking about it. So it's got to be hard not having that. And I'm
really
grateful.
Lonely, it can be really lonely. So.
Do you feel like it's brought you and Bob closer together though?
Yeah. I don't know. We've always been very close. So I don't know. We've been close. It gives us
just another level of
another level. I don't know.
Well, it's
he's on the thing. It's like, honey, this has brought us closer together.
well, it's kind
we've
of
always been close. We've always been close.
Yeah, that's good.
And maybe that was the secret of going into it is we've been close even on the things, even with being frustrated. That's honestly where I was frustrated with the amount of time spent on conspiracy theories in an honest way. 6 years going into it, it was like, okay, how many times again can we see the plane? yeah. And it's terrible because it's just so important, but it was just my okay, I get it. But what's going to do about it? But a flat Earth. Again, this is more than just a little betrayal of a country doing this. This is your world and how your whole world works and your creator and the implications. The implications are so much bigger to me than just dirty politics.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. It's a lot more. For me, it's a lot more enriching than just talking about politics. That I feel like it's a continual, ongoing thing that doesn't really get anywhere. You know what I mean? But with this, It actually goes somewhere.
It does, and with the trying to understand how it all works, you can't help. If you, this is somewhere where I've been lucky on with playing with the things. I was out the other night, and everybody should have a UV flashlight. If you take this out in the springtime, one of the things that fluoresces is chlorophyll.
Mm-hmm.
Chlorophyll fluoresces bright red. So springtime out in Carolina is beautiful right now. You're taking it, and these plants, grass, by the way, is kind of grayish and dull. It doesn't have a lot of chlorophyll. That's like what you plant in your yard. That's what we're told to make everything nice. But it doesn't have any edible. You can't eat it. You can't do anything. These weeds and that they tell us to pull, they have the chlorophyll, they have the energy, they have the life. But your world outside will glow bright red, like blood red, with the chlorophyll this time of year, and it's beautiful. Knowing that it's flat and wanting to know how it works, if you actually stop and look and watch the plants grow, watch the rocks grow, because they are growing in front of you, watch everything create, the geometry, the beauty of it, it's hard not to fall in love. I mean, it's just hard not to to feel really, really good about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing to hear you say that.
Yeah.
We agree.
What you talk with a lot of other female flat earthers. What are some of the other flat earth channels that you might really recommend, like the female flat earth channels?
Okay, female flat earth channel is really easy. Karen B.
You
Just
love
down
her.
the road from me. Love her. We have Bitches Brew.
Gosh, she really lives down the road from you.
She's literally down the road from me.
Wow.
Are you ready? She's 33 miles.
Wow.
This is a half hour away from me. So she's just over 30 miles away down the highway from, a couple of turns and that, but really close. We get together. I really enjoy her a lot.
That's cool.
That's awesome.
I fell in love with this part of, I like traveling and seeing different parts, but I spent about a month down in this part of the world with Karen, and the rocks that's where I fell in love with Carolina's was rocks and digging in the dirt out here. It was at Karen B's. She's on acres of land with a river running through it, and her property has my heart. I call it Karen land. You have Rose 777, of course. We all know Rose and everything she does. I fell in love with her at the Dallas conference before she was completely flat earther. Her mind is quick, bright, curious, and alive, and she's got the perfect, again, her and Karen, they've got these wonderful voices and wonderful, strong personalities.
Mm-hmm.
Beth Martin, all the girls on Bitches Brew, I have to, sit and push Beth. They're all so terrific in their own ways, and that's what I like, is we're all so different and we come together. Beth Martin's taken up the hero's journey, archetypes, and how to function and do well in the world in that angle. Jen Santel, True Seeker 69, who has her channel, she takes on the hard activism, the one-on-one, out there fighting that hard fight. She's our warriors. We have some amazing warriors out there too. Roxanne over in Europe always has had my heart. Roxanne Glenn. The list goes on and on with the women, I think. And they're quite. Carly Sunshine brings sunshine into our world every day.
It's a nice list.
Yeah, if you could give us links to the channel, we'll definitely include them in the description.
Definitely. And you can keep on going with it. The women are out there. You have to look for them. But they're there and they're putting on really, really good stuff. And again, as more of us come out here in the community, if you guys can show a little bit of support, we know you can't take away the bad, but give a little bit extra good when a woman is brave enough to come out, because a lot of it is out of our comfort zone. Some of them not so much, but Flat Earth means a lot, else I wouldn't be doing this.
I was gonna say, just the way you're interconnected with all these different people, I think that's part of what is really holding the whole flat earth thing together when it comes to all of the different censorship that goes out on there. The algorithms trying to uproot us and kill us that way. But it's just that unity where we stitch ourselves together and we support each other, and that's what you and the Globebusters there, that's all amazing when it comes to that interconnectedness and being aware of each other, what's going on.
And it's important because you have people that are taking the hard roles, like Jen, Truth Seeker 69, because of what she says and because she's taking that activism role. Her channel is really, she's had one channel after another removed. And without us here to pass on the new channel names, to say where to find, she's taking these risks. It's up to us to say,
keep her alive.
like, yeah, just don't here, dive off the cliff and there you're gone, and YouTube's going to make it that nobody can find you. So I think we are, we need to take responsibility for sharing the work, and I try to do it orally again with people out there more. You might, like, Cami, I don't see you out on social media promoting everybody in that. And again, remember, I try to keep in an analog world.
Yeah, that's okay. You're at the conferences and you're doing all kinds of
I'm at the
stuff.
conferences. Anytime you're going to see people, with a lot of people, you're going to see me, and I'm going to be hugging everybody. Yeah, it's just and glad and saying thank you for the channel and the work you do, because it's so important, amazing, and again, what you guys are doing especially is after my heart, and you can tell with what I'm doing why it might be after my heart. You guys put together information that's curious, that you're testing, and it's child friendly, that you could show. I love at the conferences, if you want to know who's around my table too and who has a lot, and God, the kids are smart as hell. The kids want to know how it all works, and their eyes grasp it, and that why make it such a place that if mom was in the room with the kid, that she would have a problem with the languages? Like, we don't understand. We think we're exercising free speech by going on other people's channels and talking foul, when it's like you're not. You're just making it so
limiting your audience.
I almost like it. It's almost like ratings on movies or whatever, that not everybody wants to go to an R or an X-rated movie, and especially with the kids, an R-rated movie. You don't want to go to an R-rated movie. Sometimes with your kids, you're more comfortable in a G or a PG or whatever. We should have free speech. Means that everybody is allowed to exist. G-rated
means general audience. So, yes. Yeah, when you have G, it means you've got the widest audience you can think of, or you can try and get. Yeah. Right. And so when we sit there and take on the G audience is taking away my free speech because we're taking away the F word or the C word, or it's like, no, you guys are taking away the audience by insisting that your personal free speech is more, your need to stick out and talk dirty is more important than, and again, that's where it's not the ideas or the concepts. This is people. It's like, oh, I think it's free speech because I can say a bad word, and it's like, really, I'm almost 60 years old. There's no bad word you can say that's going to shock me or that I haven't heard or anything. But we should have a friendly place that if I'm with kids or grandkids or whatever, that it could be on in the room and be comfortable. And mom walks in, and that having a comfortable place is not. That's I censor for. In other words, I believe that is free speech. Is that's demanding to have some clean areas.
Yeah. I really liked a comment that someone said, they were happy with the way we presented, so they could show their homeschooling kids.
Yes.
That was nice to hear.
And again, our children are the coming up generations, and so if you call it that, under our free speech, make everything so comfortable and unshareable with it, you're going to guarantee that these things won't get shared. Yeah. Right. We need more channels that can be shared. And again, the thing about the things that you can share with the children and the homeschoolers is the age bracket starts low and it encompasses everybody. There's nobody that can't get meaning out of it. And yet, by formatting it differently, you can make it that, again, especially introducing people to a new idea and a new concept, you can definitely make a room hostile and vulgar and make people not comfortable, being there and introducing.
Right.
Yeah. Well, we really love everything you're doing, and thank you for talking with us here. It's been fabulous. We've really enjoyed getting to know you better, and just hear more about what's important to you and all these things.
Well,
you're very talented, and I love hearing everything that you're doing too. So, thank you.
Hopefully I'm going to see a lot more of you guys, and maybe again, as your university or that, we can place some with double refraction and some different areas. If you get into it, I'd love to help you put together lessons in these areas. If you need any help,
that'd be really fun.
You guys would be great presenting, but I've got some different ideas that could present well, and the kids love in that. So congratulations.
connecting those puzzle pieces, as you say. And as I can find a place to put your puzzle pieces, I would love to make those connections and include those.
Lovely. I love that. So I like what you're doing. I like it that you're doing a women's and bring them out there. And
They're important to us.
yes.
Playing very important
and
roles.
have really important things to present that maybe the male might not, put it in the same way.
I noticed that with my Modern Earth Science Destroyed series here, my biggest fear about that is becoming like the anti-flat earther Professor Dave Explains. He says everything in a very snide and condescending manner, and I always feel like when Karina's here with me, I am able to say things a lot nicer. I'm not.
Calm down.
She's
softer side.
She helps me say it in a less snide and condescending way. She helps me be more natural and more real and sincere. You know what I mean?
She brings out your real person or your humble instead of the trigger. Yeah, a trigger response. That makes it so what you're doing, Karina, in the background is you're bringing out and making his channel something I want to watch, which it is. I don't watch a lot of flat earthers. And I watch you guys. I don't watch a lot of flat earthers. I really don't. I do a lot of book and analog work, and I don't like screen time, so I'm very limited where I'm going to jump in. You guys are... I want to support you in every way I can because I think you're doing so right.
Yeah.
All right.
It's been wonderful talking to you. Thank you so very much.
All right. You guys have a great, great day.
You too. Bye.
Bye-bye. Say bye, Bob.
Bye.
Thank you. This video was brought to you by the Flat Earth Institute of Science.
A special thanks to Cami Knodel. Thank you for watching.